Hello, hello. It is pretty early. I was not planning on getting up this early. It's the weekend. I like to sleep in. And I got up to use the bathroom and I looked at my phone, which typically I don't normally do because I want to get right back to sleep. But on a whim or maybe sensing something in the air, I decided to just check out Discord, see if I got any messages, see what's going on, and I saw this. They're remaking the One Piece anime with Studio Wit. I know this is the most excited I have ever been about an anime announcement. Like, beating out when they announced the Bloom Into You anime, beating out Trigger adaptation of Dungeon Meshi. I never thought this would happen. I thought the Toei stranglehold on animated One Piece was absolute. And look, I wouldn't say I'm a One Piece anime hater or anything extreme like that. I think it's very much in the style of 90s, 2000s shonen anime adaptations, where basically they just wanted to translate the manga into the anime in the most commercially viable way, which at the time they thought was just cranking out episodes 365 days a year, it seems like, years and years and years on end, not funneling a ton of money into the production, knowing that they have a guaranteed readership of tens of, maybe hundreds of millions, knowing that largely it's going to be kids watching it who may not really care and are just down to plunk themselves in front of the TV for 22 minutes. And that's how they did it back then, and I think that style is very charming. That was the first sort of anime I ever watched. With the Dragon Ball adaptation, the Dragon Ball Z adaptation that aired on like YTV. That was what anime was to me, and I think is what anime is in the minds of so many. But then maybe around 2014, 2015, I believe, we started to get a major sea change in the way studios were adapting these giant shonen properties, where they realized, hey, we've got some of the most valuable intellectual property in the world right now. We have a series that has a loyal and devoted readership that has been raving about it for years at this point. We shouldn't think of it in terms of what can we do to get more of their money. We should instead really be thinking about who hasn't gotten into this yet and how can we get their money. Because we live in a media landscape now where there is so much choice, so many things available on demand to us, that when you're adapting something, you shouldn't think, oh, well, this has basically already gotten the audience it could have. People would have found this were they going to be interested in something like this already. No, you should think, hey, there's probably a 10x size audience that hasn't been made aware of how good this thing is simply because the manga format may be too inaccessible or they just haven't had a chance. And what do we need to do to force multiply this and get this into mainstream conversations, get this into Hot Topic merch store, get this into theaters, in North American theaters, and make like $1 billion. And it's actually, maybe counterintuitively, spending like 300 times money on the animation itself, on that quality, getting a studio that is known for quality. And we've started seeing this with pretty much all the big Weekly Shonen Jump adaptations since like the Demon Slayer, Boku no Hero Academia era. Chainsaw Man, Jujutsu Kaisen. I think Undead Unluck. That one went for the sickos, but they got me. I started watching things that I hadn't been reading just because the anime, as an anime, was so good. The Dan adaptation that's coming out, I'm sure, is going to fall into this category. The Akane Banashi adaptation by KyoAni that exists inside my dreams dreams that now feel more possible than ever is probably going to have this quality were it to exist. I was so enamored and content with this new era of manga adaptation where they really try to make it an amazing thing in and of itself instead of just a cash grab. And this is just the most mind-blowing. I never thought this would happen. This is hands down, if they're really going to try to animate the whole thing, this is hands down the most ambitious anime project that's ever been taken on, to try to do the 1,100 and counting chapters of One Piece at the quality that we expect from Wit Studio is simply astounding. But I want to believe they're up for the task. I think they could go so crazy with this. Like, I think the choreography in the One Piece manga is great. In the anime, generally not so much. Sometimes very good, but generally not so much. In the manga, it's quite great. But it could be even better. Within the characters' abilities, the way they act, the personality that could come out during the fights, if they wanted to dive into that more, if they wanted to expand on what was happening with that legendary Studio Wit choreography, it could get like insane. It could get like unprecedentedly good in terms of shonen fight scenes. You know, like, I wouldn't say One Piece has the best fight scenes of any shonen I've read, but I think it has the potential to, because it has the most interesting powers, the most interesting fight ideas of any shonen series I've ever read. Like, imagine like the Zoro versus Kaku fight, which we'll be watching in maybe 2030, feasibly at this pace. Imagine that. But instead of, you know, just the kind of very, like, sequence of ideas that is so delightful and so entertaining, instead it's the same sequence of ideas, but with, like, the fluidity, the pacing, the imagination of the Wit choreography directors incorporated into that. It's like this could easily become my favorite anime of all time if they don't fuck it up. I don't even think Wit is likely to fuck it up at all, because they're batting nearly 1,000. The people I'm afraid of, the one word I saw in here that freaks me out more than any is Netflix. I'm not a Netflix fan. They did the One Piece live action, and I gotta give them big props on that. They spent a ton of money on it. They really believed that this would attract enough new audiences to pay for itself. Excuse me, if they did a good job. They knew their backs were against the wall because they had bungered so many other anime to live action adaptations. And from all accounts, or the vast majority of accounts, they actually did a good job. I'm not really interested in watching it. I don't know if I'll ever watch it. I don't know how much further they're going to go, because as the series becomes more complex and insane, the cost of doing a live action adaptation goes up and up and up. But I guess basically that was so successful that they started going, hey, why isn't everyone watching the One Piece anime if everybody loves this property so much? And then found out, you know, that the Toei product is really more a product in many ways than a full-on actual anime Sakuga masterpiece. And then they decided to fund this. And I think that's a great idea. I have every reason to think this makes a lot of sense from a business standpoint. You have $1 billion+ franchise on the table. You have the most successful manga franchise of all time on the table, and I think, you know, it could be even bigger at this point. It could still be even bigger. There's still One Piece fans untouched. Most of my friends that watch anime have not read or watched One Piece because it is like too long, too intimidating, and the anime is not that great, and they prefer watching anime over manga. And I just keep telling them, like, you like shonen, you watch other weekly Shonen Jump series, you know, since the Sea Change, you love BNHA, you love Demon Slayer. And I'm not even thinking of particular people, I'm thinking of like 18 people. You should watch One Piece, you should read One Piece, you should watch One Piece, the anime edit that speeds it up a lot. I was begging them to do this because I know there's so many potential One Piece fans still out there. So this makes a lot of sense. This makes a whole lot of sense from a business perspective. The One Piece. Oh my god, it's gonna be so fucking good. Here's the problem. Nothing Netflix does makes sense. So just because it makes sense isn't a good enough reason for them to be doing it. The only way in which that company moves is by the whims of the algorithm. They have no concept of long-term planning. They have no bone in their body that could possibly be given the label faith. They've never once had a soul about deciding which series should go on, build up a fan base, improve their quality. No. They have no heart whatsoever and will act something on the merest suggestion that maybe the rate at which it accelerated getting money is slightly declining in the fifth derivative. That is good enough for some executive that saw some chart and has no idea what any of the words on it mean, but sees a line going down to say, okay, we'll cut that. I don't even have confidence that Netflix will live as a company long enough to adapt this entire series. The streaming landscape is getting insanely competitive, with basically every media empire setting up their own services, and Netflix is being left with less and less and less. In my mind, Netflix is like a garbage series. Of course, I'm comparing it to something that's not really fair to compare it to, piracy. But it's astounding to me how little content is on Netflix and how content will just disappear from the platform, and they'll say, hey, this is the last week to watch such and such a movie, because it's just going away. And people are paying monthly. I don't know how much. It's like $20 a month or something for this privilege. And I'm just like, how is this company still in business? How are people thinking this is okay? I think it's basically just inertia. So I don't know. Will this get a whole bunch of people to subscribe to Netflix? I hope so. I'll be real. I'm tempted to do it. I'm tempted to subscribe like 10 or 12 times and say, hey, it's because of the One Piece anime. Just to do whatever I can, just to make one tiny, insignificant impact. Just to know that I tried to keep this thing going. Okay. Is that everything I wanted to say? I've just been lying in bed thinking about it and then realizing I'm not going to be able to go back to sleep. This is really the most excited I have ever been about an anime. One Piece is my favorite manga of all time. There's no question there. Will it become my favorite anime of all time? Beating out like Hidamari Sketch, Sangatsu no Lion, things that are incomparable to shonen action manga. I don't know, maybe. Even though it's incomparable, maybe. I see One Piece is trending. I hope I don't see porn. I actually probably shouldn't scroll. I think I got very, very lucky that there wasn't porn. Twitter is just so saturated with porn at all times now. But yeah, this is absolutely crazy. Anime One Piece, 25 years. I haven't seen this trailer. 25 years ago, the beginning of this something... The world is in a widening. The world is in something. This time of the world widening. I think they're basically just explaining this logic. Now let's like let's do it. Let's like move forward. I think. I don't know. Nihongo Jozu Ganai. Is this actual footage of Oda drawing? This is like extremely rare footage. No, that's not Oda drawing. This is a Wit Studio guy drawing. Atarashi Tana Animation Chimu ni a new animation team. God, it could be so fucking peak. Something that really conveys... Again, like, there's things in One Piece, in the manga, that are, like, better than they are. And this sounds deranged, but, like... just, like, scenery scenes. Shot establishment scenes. establishing the setting and stuff. The manga sparks so much imagination with just a few panels, just a few little glimpses. And Wit is so good at that stuff. They can bring out so much of just that life, just that realism. Making from the first chapter, totally new animation is, and oh my god, it's becoming totally newly animated from chapter 1. Studio Wit, sorry, producers of Attack on Titan, Spy Family, and others. Osama Ranking, I think Osama Ranking, excellent model of what the Sakuga could look like in this. Oh boy. Making it's like decisive system, making cement. This is like a 4 kanji expression that I can read all 4 individual content or kanji and then I have no idea what it means. Oh baby. Oh my god. And we have a new chapter to read. Okay, I'm gonna do that in a different video because I've rambled on for way too long. This is just so insane. The One Piece is real, dude. The One Piece is real! I'm not gonna take my pants off, though. Okay. I don't think I have anything more to say. Goodbye for now.